Hey friends, it's Sarah. So today I'm going to be doing a Parsons Q&A video. So basically I'm going to be answering all the questions that you guys have been leaving on my 2 dorm tour videos, my Parsons freshman year experience video, and all those other things that you guys have been commenting and asking and messaging me, and I'm going to try to answer as many of those as possible right now. I get a lot of questions about dorms. So if you haven't already, I do have 2 dorm tour videos on my channel, and I'll link those in the eye as well as at the end of this video. So the first dorm tour I posted was in 2016, and that was the Stuyvesant Hall dorm tour. So some of you have asked, and yes, this dorm is mostly freshmen. It's not required that freshmen live there. Anybody else in the school can live there, but generally freshmen end up there, and so most of the population is freshmen from any of the new schools, Parsons or Lang or anything like that. So this is a good place to be if you really want to meet new students. And I found a lot of people say that if they end up in Kerrey their first year, it's harder to make friends because you're not around people who are looking as hard to make friends. So if you find that it's probably easier to connect to somebody your age or with other people who are looking to make friends, you know, if you have like a harder time making friends, it's probably best to end up in Stuyvesant or maybe Loeb, which is also another dorm that has a lot of freshmen as well as sophomores. So that is a factor to consider. A lot of people also ask me about the cleanliness of Stuyvesant because there's some info floating around that Sty is not that clean of a dorm. Personally, I found that to be true. Sty is kind of a gross place to live. There's definitely mice and all sorts of other creepy crawlies there, so it's definitely gross, and if you can't deal with that, you really do not want to end up there. I sort of had my issues with this. I lived on the 2nd floor when I lived at Sty, which meant I was closer to the ground, which meant there was a bigger pest problem. Obviously, the closer to the ground you are, the more pests there are, which is really irritating, and I personally am really shy and just internalize everything, so I didn't want to do anything to deal with that situation, but I did know some people that completely moved out of the dorm because they could not handle that. That was like a deal breaker. So if that's a deal breaker for you, Sty is not the place to be. I'm super neat and organized. I'm not so squeamish, but like obviously anyone's gonna be upset if they wake up and see a mouse in their room, and that was definitely not cool because that definitely happened to me a couple of times. So a lot of people also ask what kind of room I had at Sty, and I had the standard double, I believe. I don't think I had the economy double. The economy double just means the room is a little bit smaller, I believe, and the standard room is a little bit bigger. I don't think it makes that large of a difference, honestly, but I didn't really spend enough time in economy doubles to know the difference. I've also gotten some questions about what did I think about living in Sty, and honestly, at the time, I didn't think it was that bad. I really didn't think much of it because I wasn't expecting much out of a freshman dorm in New York City. But looking back on it, I could never end up in a room like that. I could never end up living in a place like that again. But at the time, it didn't seem so bad. Like, it wasn't like I absolutely hated it or actively disliked the experience. It was just kind of like, yeah, this place is gross, but like, it feels like you're supposed to do that when you first live in the city. So I don't know. There definitely is a pest problem though, so if that's really gonna freak you out, like, don't be there. A lot of people also ask about the dorm setup, like what do you kind of get in a standard room, and most dorms are set up where you have like a kitchen common area, and then there's a bathroom, and then there's 2 double rooms, meaning there's 2 bedrooms where 2 people live in each of those rooms. There are a few rooms that have a single or have 3 double rooms or something weird like that, but almost all rooms in Stuyvesant, definitely in Kerrey, and I think in also Loeb, is set up like you have a big common area and you have 2 double rooms. You can check out my dorm videos. I show this pretty much in detail, except for the fact that I don't show the other double room, obviously, because it's not my room, but you can basically get the sense of the layout there. They also have like the layouts, the overhead layouts on the school website, and I'll also link that down below if you want to check that out. I spent a lot of time looking at those just because I really like to know like the lay of the land, but most rooms are set up the same way. I've also been asked, is there a gym? As far as I know, there's no like general public gym, but there are gyms in the dorm room, like on the basement level, I think, of most rooms. There is like a small gym with like treadmills, and this is really embarrassing because I never go to the gym, so I don't know what's there besides treadmills, but I know there are treadmills and like maybe like those bicycle things, some sort of workout equipment. There are like little small gyms in each dorm. A random question I've been asked is, do the bathrooms come with shower curtains? Do you get toilet paper? Things like that. And yes, you do get shower curtains, but both of my dorms, one of my other roommates bought a shower curtain and brought it in just because that's a nicer thing to have. But no, you don't have to bring one. That's really up to you. As far as toilet paper goes, you can go down to the basement level, like where the RAs are, and they have toilet paper, and you can just restock on that, which is super nice because obviously going out and getting toilet paper all the time is expensive and annoying, so it's nice that they provide that for you. They also have garbage bags down there, but I find that they're really, really big, and unless you have a really big trash can, like you happen to get a really huge one, they can be too big. I've also been asked about my roommate situation, and people have asked, like, can you request roommates? Did you get randomly selected or did you pick your roommate? So for my first year, I chose my roommates based on like a new school group. When you get accepted to the school, you can get automatically added to like a Facebook group where you can meet other students, and a lot of people choose to post like different things on there about like who they are, what their interests are. Through that, you can meet other people. So that's what I did my freshman year, so that I could meet people before I moved in, and then I felt more comfortable going in knowing kind of who I was going to be living with, and that worked out well. Most people do that. In my experience, I found most people did that freshman year. Second year, you can either do, you know, people that you had classes with, people you became friends with, you could keep the same roommates, or you could do random selection. I decided to do random selection for my second year because I just thought it would be like a nice fun switch up, and now I'm going into my third year and I'm doing that again because I found it worked really well and I really enjoyed the people I lived with. So I just decided I like doing random selection. I don't know why, I just enjoy it, but you know, that's totally up to you. If you're more comfortable living with people you know, then you should go for it. I've been asked which are the best and worst undergrad dorms. Please rate them. So I can't really rate this because I haven't lived in them all. I've lived in two, which is Stuyvesant and Kerrey, and definitely Kerrey is the best dorm and Stuyvesant is the worst. Well, I can't really say definitively that Stuyvesant is the worst because I haven't experienced the others, but it's pretty much believed across the board that Kerrey Hall is the best dorm. It's our newest dorm by far. It is totally upgraded. It's so much cleaner and nicer than all of the other dorms. I've lived in Kerrey Hall this past year, and I'm also going to be living there next year because I really enjoyed it. You're living right above the university center, so you just have to go down the elevator for some of your classes, for the library, for the cafeteria, for like anything you could possibly need, and you just go right across the street for your other classes, so it's super, super convenient. So that one's kind of universally known as the best dorm. The worst dorm is maybe known as Stuyvesant, but maybe like 13th Street or Loeb is just as bad, but I've heard a lot of people really, really enjoy Loeb, so I don't think that one's that bad of an option either. The next question is there guaranteed housing, or is there a slight chance that I might not get in? As far as I know, housing is pretty much guaranteed. I've never met someone that said they wanted to get into housing that didn't. However, they don't 100% guarantee housing. If you pay like a deposit and you get fully in through like the system, you're in. Like there's no way they're gonna just like cut you out at the last second. As far as I know, it's pretty much guaranteed, but they'll never say it's guaranteed at the slight chance that it's totally full and somebody can't get in. Another question is, are you allowed to have an apartment when you're going to the new school? And yes, of course, you're allowed to have your own apartment. You're allowed to like live with your parents. I know tons of people who grew up in New York City and still live with their parents and commute to school, and this is a great way to save a ton of money. The same thing goes for having an apartment. If you're really good at finding apartments and maybe you have a different roommate situation, you can totally save money if you're willing to commute than paying for the dorms, because the dorms are super, super expensive. Another dorm question was, is there routine dorm checks and what kind of things are they looking? So there are routine dorm checks. I can't remember if they're like once a month or like once at the start and end of a semester. You do get a few during the school year, but I can't remember usually what they revolve around. But usually you know like what time of the year they're coming, or like your RA will send out an email and say like room checks are going to be this week, so like keep a heads up kind of thing. Mostly what they are looking for was like mess. Food sitting out, piles of clothes, just junk everywhere. That's the big thing, especially in Stuyvesant, because this is just like a cesspool for germs and rats and mice and bugs and all sorts of terrible things if you just have food lying out. And that's common sense, but you'd be surprised how many people can't handle that. So basically the big thing they're checking for is cleanliness, because they do not want rats or dorms or pests of any kind to become a problem at any of their dorms. That's the biggest thing they're checking for. The other things they're checking for are kind of the obvious. They're checking for fire hazards, they're checking for things you shouldn't have, but they don't do anything like go through your drawers or open any of your doors or anything like that. They're basically going to step in, look around your room really quick, and check the things off and make sure everything's good. In my experience, between my two RAs, I had one who was pretty efficient and like kind of checked the entire area, what was out, obviously not like rummaging through anything, just kind of like scanning the area and like said it was good, and I had another one who basically peeked her head in, said hi, and then that was it. So it definitely depends on what RA you have and how chill they are, but most people are just looking to make sure there's no obvious problems. Nobody's trying to look to like ruin your life if you have something that's technically you're not supposed to have. I've also been asked, is the meal plan worth it? In my experience, the meal plan was worth it because I've lived close enough to the school that I use the cafeteria quite often. However, I've had a lot of people tell me that they don't think the meal plan is worth it because you can just put money on your new card cash if you want to spend money in the cafeteria but not bother with a meal plan. And honestly, that's a good option too. It's basically the same thing. It's just you're not paying it all at the start of the year all at once. You're kind of doing it when you want to. For me, I know I'm going to spend the money, so I just do it at the start of the year, and then I don't have to worry about it. Which, obviously, this is totally different if you're not going to live in the dorms. If you're not living on campus, you probably do not want a meal plan because that would not make sense. You're not going to be there enough to use it. But if you're living, especially in Kerrey Hall, you're going to be eating breakfast, lunch, dinner there. You're going to be eating there almost all the time. So it's great to have a meal plan to just, like, fall back on. But honestly, new card cash makes just as much sense, absolutely as much sense, because it's the exact same thing. You're just adding money as you go and you don't risk losing it at the end of the year if you don't spend it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I answered most of your questions and I hope it helped. If I didn't answer something or if I wasn't helpful, leave a comment down below and I'll try to figure out what I can do to help you out. I'm gonna have some links in the description if you needed those, they'll be there. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope I'll see you again next Sunday. Bye guys. Just want to go to bed. So my first one